Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, I was on last night, but I had a couple of problems going on with my new mic, so I just went back to the old school again until I can get it straightened out. But yeah, like always, I got information about the Alabama prison system. Very informative. And for the ones who watch me on YouTube, y'all will see it. But however, I will be putting it out to my groups that I'm in, going to the governor's office, going to the commissioner's office, things of that nature. Hope I don't have any feedback on this. Well, not feedback. I meant echoing on the channel. But yeah, as we know, Alabama's in the process of opening up a new prison system or a new prison facility in Elmore County, and it should be opening the month of October. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we know that Alabama prison system is very, very understaffed and need train officers, train personnel to get things straight. Because I'm praying and hoping that I say we don't go into the same effect that happened back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, they started to build new facilities, and a couple of those facilities, um, one of them was Limestone Correctional Facility. And I think it was built around 83, 84, give or take. They built St. Clair Correctional Facility, and they also built West Jefferson, which is now uh, named William E. Donaldson. And it's named that because an officer was actually unalived there by another inmate. So we'll get started. I'm gonna try to wait and get some more information on it, but I want to give the news out that I have already about the prison system. And as we know, that Alabama have always ran the prison understaffed and overpopulated by the inmates. I think now they is running on a 110 percentage, meaning the capacity that they have now is it's like a it's like filling a balloon up full of water, and you it's waiting on you to stick a pin in it so it can burst. And it's bad. It's very sad. But we're going to keep on hitting that rusty nail and hope that rusty nail penetrate so some things can change. As we know about the prison system, we're not saying that open the gates and let it flood severely with inmates coming back to society, because we know that that's not going to happen. You all hold on just 1 minute. Let me get this dog quiet. Okay, I'm back. But like I said, as we know that Alabama prison system is, man, not only Alabama but a lot of other state facilities. But suffice to say, I'm just mainly focusing on Alabama because that is a system that I was involved in. That is a system that I've done time in. That is a system that I managed to leave out of. And that is a system that I will always fight for the human rights. And fighting for the human rights is fighting against uh, the inhumane conditions of the prison system. Because we all have witnessed that Alabama is a system that is totally broken. I spoke, I think I did a live about the assistant warden or one of the high ranking administrators that came from Trisdale prison system in Tennessee. And that particular individual was Jamaris Porter, one that Alabama rolled out the red carpet, and he had a very, very bad past. I'm talking about he ran the prison, man, like Ayatollah Al-Amidi. And it was terrible. It was mass overdoses, mass extortion, and let alone the violence that went on behind the walls and the drug addictions that he allowed to take place. He was one of them that contributed to the drug overdoses. However, let's get started. Now, we all know that there are convicts that don't need to be amongst us. You know, there are some people, man, that actually need to remain behind the walls. Also, there are convicts that should be paroled, given a second chance in society. You know, if incarcerated, they shouldn't be subject to abuse. No matter what kind of crime they committed, they still should not be a subject of abuse. The officer can't be disrespected by inmates, convicts, or supervision. That's the same thing. But we know that's going to happen. That's why we have to hopefully the governor that's going to come in now will have a team that understands the system, something he can put together and transform this broken system that we have had for decades. We know, as like I always say, lies don't figure and figures don't lie. The system needs 2,000 more officers just to meet DOJ requirements. DOJ is Department of Justice. Alabama needs at least 2,000 more officers. Now, the system needs 3,000 very well vetted potential officers who should be educated, well specialized, trained in use of force. Officers, inmate relations, they need this. They need this. We know that, like I said, the system really needs at least 3,000 very well vetted potential officers. And they should be educated. They should be well specialized, trained in the use of force. Officer and inmate relations, communication. They need professionalism, mental health, search skills, and power. And this is to be used to prevent serious injury, not cause it. Because we know that Alabama have had a lot of individuals unalive or physically abused, and tortured throughout the system. Like I said, lies don't figure and figures don't lie. They need these numbers, guys, women, men, so forth. They need men who have the skills and the power. They need these men and these women and these personnel to be used to prevent serious injury and not cause it. Like I said, these some things we have to repeat over and over again. And this is a needed staff. They need this staff just to control and manpower the prison that's going to be built in Elmore. So that raised the figures up again to at least 5,000 men in Elmore prison. It's going to be at least 5,000 inmates housed in this one super mega prison. What's up, Miss T? Mr. T, glad you're here, bro. I'm just speaking on Alabama system because I'm going to send this. This is going out to the groups that I am involved in and also to the governor's office. And to give you a brief acknowledgement of what I was speaking on, or how we're going to try to get more officers to govern and supervise this prison. This particular prison that they're going to open in October is going to house approximately 5,000 inmates. The biggest prison Alabama has today is Limestone Correctional Facility in North Alabama. And at the moment, it houses at least 2,300 plus inmates. Now imagine coming from this prison to a mega prison that's going to hold double the amount. It's going to require a lot of straightening out for the DOJ requirements. And the DOJ is the Department of Justice. And this prison that's going to be built, whether this prison that is actually built and going to be operated, if they don't have the proper staff, the proper supervision, the right professionalism, the convicts without proper staff and supervision, they will destroy this prison within 6 months. Like I said, lies don't figures and figures don't lie. I was once upon a time amongst the inmates in Alabama prison system. Like I said previously, back in the 80s, they built 3 prisons. Limestone was built approximately in 83 or 84. I can't say exactly what year it was. West Jefferson, which is called William E. Donaldson, which is west of Birmingham, Alabama. It's called, it was renamed William E. Donaldson after it was named West Jefferson, because there was an officer that was actually unalived by an inmate in that prison system. And they renamed the prison after Officer Donaldson. May his soul rest in peace. Now we have to think about this. They have spent billions of dollars building these prisons, specifically this one that's going to be open in October, give or take. But $1 billion+ and it will represent the academy very similar to the first in the early 80s. And I just gave a scenario about the ones that were built in the early 80s, these 3 prisons. With well-versed, experienced instructors who give a damn about right that they should do according to the Alabama laws. If Alabama don't spend their money and find a way to recruit, they will continue to spend millions settling lawsuits. 53 million during Don's tenure. And we all remember Don. Don was one of these commissioners in Alabama. While lives are lost and ruined, investigators must be serious about busting corruption, especially amongst the staff. If they're not serious about busting up the corruption amongst the staff, the saga will continue. Now, I'm not putting the inmates or convicts on a pedestal, because we know when you go to prison, you have violated or you have abandoned the rights to be in society. Now, if this new governor that we see coming in, and I think it's going to be Governor Tuberville, I really hope that this governor here can assemble a team of real professionals who know prison, who knows the people, who knows the culture. Because if not, we'll go back into the same thing that we have witnessed for decades. I've done 17 years and 8 months, maximum security prison. And I'm here to tell you that if they don't get the shit right and organized, nothing will change. It's like a man being insane. You expect a change, but you keep on doing the same thing. And I constantly say lies don't figures and figures don't lie. Montgomery, Alabama have had multiple meetings about this. They have been told, they have been exposed to all the criminal activities, not by the incarcerated, but by the ones who are supposed to govern the incarcerated. They must start with the head first, because it's like a snowball. As it rolls down, it gets bigger. And this is what Alabama is facing. I've tried over and over again with recruiting ones that have done the time, that is still in behind the fences, the gates. Some speak out and some won't. I have tried multiple times to get a few wardens, retirees, and so forth to come up and speak about the system. However, the journey must continue. I have a warden that's going to come up, and he's going to give his opinion. He's going to give his expertise about the system that he witnessed, about the system that he actually grew up in. And I respect this warden a whole lot. Whether I agree with everything he done, no. But do I have that mutual respect? Of course. Because mutual respect goes a long ways. Y'all forgive me with this dog barking in the background. My wife is doing something that got her very wind up. I don't know what the deal is. But like I said, we is in dire need of revamping this broken system. I have spoken with people in Trisdale prison system in Tennessee, and they are having the same problems that we're having. The state of Mississippi, the state of Georgia, and the state of Florida. I haven't had direct contact with ones that's in Florida, but I have contacted and have had physical contact with ones in the state of Mississippi, Georgia, and Tennessee. So I will have this live podcast amongst those groups that I am involved in, that I am affiliated with. But I can go on and on about the Alabama prison system. I've spoken about the damages that it does not only to the incarcerated, but what it also does to the family members that have ones incarcerated. The mindset of the inmates in prison, and the mindset of the people that manage to stay in touch with their loved ones. Because, like I always say, lies don't figures and figures don't lie. And as time goes on, people live, people die out, people transfer, people move, people get other lives. I mean, it's just life. Alabamians must come together and try to figure out how this system should start running. And time is of essence. As of October, this new prison system will go into effect. And like I said, they need approximately 3,000 officers to run this prison. And they don't just need people just in uniform. They need to have professionalism. They need to have, they need to be educated on how to handle the mental disturbed. They need to be, they need to be aware of and educated on how to distribute force without injuring the incarcerated or being injured themselves. They must be trained. From an inmate perspective, like I said, I've done 17 years and 8 months maximum security prison. Limestone itself wasn't always a maximum security prison. It started out as a level 4, which was medium security. And the system was so crowded and busting the seams, so they eventually made it a maximum security prison. I think around the year 2008. I have to go back and get my numbers situated, so don't quote me exactly on that. But the only maximum security prison they had in Alabama was Holman Correctional Facility, which is down south, southward of Alabama. West Jefferson, which is now William E. Donaldson, west of Birmingham, Alabama, and St. Clair Facility, that is eastward of Alabama. So I thought I would come up and give the latest news that I have amongst this system. Have several meetings going on in a couple of weeks, but we have to get the people on board. Does one get tired? Of course. I know I am, but I have to keep on going. Regardless of health conditions, you must keep on going for the fight because there are people that's in need. A change must come. A change have to come. A change gotta come with this broken system. Mr. T, do you have any questions? Because I can see your chat. Do you have any questions about the topic that I'm speaking on? Feel free to ask them, and I will try to give the best answer that I can. I understand that there are people that have loved ones in prison, and they constantly try to turn that down while I'm on this. Um, there are people that's out there that have loved ones incarcerated, and the first thing that people tell them to stay strong and keep focused. However, some people have done it for years. Can you imagine telling someone to keep the faith and stay strong, and they have endured this pain for years? I have what we say back in the day, homeboys that's incarcerated and been there now 30 and 40 years. So I speak to them as well. But if God will, I will be going back to Montgomery this Wednesday of the week coming up to discuss some more things about the prison system from an inmate perspective, from a felon perspective, from an ex-convict perspective, and from most of all, a concerned civilian, a freed man that endured the system. Mrs. T, if you're still here, give me a thumbs up if you're still here, because I don't know who's in the chat or not. I can't really see it. So if you're still here, give me a thumbs up. Or put a 1 in the chat so I know you're still listening, brother. I don't want to look over you. Okay, with that, I will be ending this segment on Alabama new prison system. As information come in, I will share it and let the people know. So may our Creator bless you all. Continue to stay focused. Strive and do what's right. Do the right thing when no one is looking, because we all know what our heart receives and what we should do. You all take care. Have a blessed and the rest of your afternoon. We greatly appreciate you all for listening.